Langford and Leo Escalamato. As Moses mentioned, we are the MotoTool team, part of the Social Venture Creation course. We've been working together for the past 2 months to try to develop the idea a little bit further and get some input, and we're looking forward to your questions and advice today. Professor Carnani, what time did you wake up this morning?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. And did you use, what did you use to wake up? Did you wake up on your own volition?
Yeah.
Okay, well, for us mere mortals who have to wake up on kind of a dark, dreary Friday morning like this, I need an alarm clock. And in fact, everybody in this room probably doesn't actually realize how much you're able to accomplish on a daily basis because you have regular access to electricity. So from waking up on a dark Friday morning to having the assurance that that vaccines in the hospital down the street are kept cold, we take electricity for granted. Okay, 403.7 million Indians do not have this convenience. So they are not as economically or socially as productive because they lack this access to electricity. Even so, 44% of rural households in India have access to grid electricity. But even those households that do have access to grid electricity experience common blackouts of 12 to 15 hours per day. MotoTool addresses this gap and provides electric power as needed in off-grid situations. So here's how MotoTool works. A motorcycle operator dismounts the rear wheel on his bike, and in that space installs the MotoTool device. This video here is it's fast-forwarded about 5 times, but it's the process of taking off the rear wheel. It takes, in real time, it takes about 1.5 minutes and requires only 2 simple wrenches and some basic mechanical knowledge. Once MotoTool is installed in the space where the rear wheel was operating before, it engages directly with the power produced by the engine by being attached to the sprocket. The sprocket is, of course, turned by the chain. So MotoTool takes this mechanical energy and turns it into electricity. So the motorcycle market in India is the 2nd largest in the world. Right now, there are about 60 million motorcycles on the ground. One company alone, Hero Honda, sells 1 million Hero Honda Splendor models per year. 40% of those sales are in rural areas. And in fact, Hero Honda has a sales marketing team of about 500 executives that are, well, executives, right? That are out in these rural villages drumming up business and keeping aware of who might be buying a motorcycle. So this was our perspective at the beginning of the course. We had what you just saw up there as the idea for the initial engineering design of the product. And we were looking primarily at agricultural uses, agricultural applications. During the course of the past 2 months, we've had conversations with the engineering community, the B-School community, and NGOs to further refine this thinking. So through our engagement with the B-School community, we got validation. We also learned about different distribution channels and the financing needs of our target customers. Through the NGO community, we tested our initial hypothesis that the agricultural sector should be the main target market and further refined that and actually enlarged it to include rural healthcare settings. So small health clinics that have irregular access to power and are currently relying on diesel generators to fill for supplementary power when power goes out. And also disaster relief agencies came on our radar as a possible target customer. From the engineering community, we actually developed a further idea of alternative designs for our products. So instead of installing the device in the space where the rear wheel was normally operating, maybe you can just attach a belt around the rear wheel so that the operator does not have to take the wheel off, and then that belt would turn as the wheel turned and would be connected to a generator, and it would produce electricity in that way. We also got a sense for the R&D. Well, so in addition to alternative designs, we also got a sense for the factors that would go into the decision about how to finalize our design. So the factors here would be basic efficiency. So if you attached a wheel around, or a belt around the wheel, would that be as efficient as installing something in the space? So efficiency, ease of use, the R&D that might be necessary to produce these different designs that we have in mind, and the output. So exactly how much wattage could this product produce?
So when we were developing the company, we started to look a little bit at what a potential business model for MotoTool could be. We came up with the idea of using a custom manufacturer to produce the parts rather than an in-house production. This way we can utilize additional resources that these custom manufacturers already have. They're low cost, they're in India and China already, so import costs are going to be low. And it reduces the amount of initial startup funds that we're going to need. The actual administrative side of MotoTool is going to mostly focus on what our key activities are. So we want to be able to provide education for our sales channels so that these sales channels can then sell the MotoTool module. We need to focus on supply chains and reducing costs as much as possible so that we can sell these things as close to wholesale as humanly possible. And also providing advertisement and just getting the field drummed up about what MotoTool is. Next, we started to look at what our possible sales channels were going to be. We're trying to operate more at a bit of the automated end of the spectrum with our customer involvement. This way, we can actually reach more customers, and we can reach them through places that they're already going to go to. So places like a parts supplier, where they're going to receive parts for their motorcycle and repair their motorcycle. They can get MotoTool installed there. They can go to microfinancers, because most of these users don't have the funds to pay for a MotoTool module cash out of pocket. They typically lease or receive money for their motorcycle through loans. So using a similar method to pay for the MotoTool would be a viable option. And then finally, through the dealers themselves, using these 500 sales execs to possibly even sell MotoTool at point of sales for the motorcycle. But most importantly is our users. We want to focus on this NGO community, and we want to focus on these motorcycle users out in the field. By providing MotoTool, we can get the NGOs better service for their constituents and their customers, so they can provide healthcare options and better serve the community. And then the users are going to be more productive, and they're going to have a greater income. This way, they will be able to pay off the MotoTool. They'll be able to increase their quality of life, which is our eventual goal. One possible application that we were talking about is using a package option with MotoTool. So instead of just providing MotoTool, we provide something with it, say a water pump. So by providing, say, a reverse osmosis filtration device, which would fit on the back of the device with the MotoTool, a user could potentially go to a village, put the water filtration device in a source of water, filter, and provide clean, drinkable water to the community. We did a couple calculations using some off-the-shelf generators and filters and factoring things like the fuel cost, the fixed cost, and the filter cost. We came out to about 2.3 Indian rupees per liter of water. And at a really low, cheap rate, these people can even pay off the MotoTool device in about 14 weeks. And thus extending the usability of the device and the impact of the device far beyond the user themselves and also the community as a whole.
So, of course, there are some other solutions out there right now for to provide electricity in off-grid situations. So this is a graph in Indian rupees. It's log, so the difference between here and there, of course, is a whole order of magnitude. And at 5 kilowatts, MotoTool, as you can see, is significantly cheaper than a diesel generator, a micro-hydro system, solar panels, or a wind turbine. These are fixed costs, so this is the initial upfront cost of the device. MotoTool here is aligned because we used a range of not knowing exactly how much it's going to cost. We estimated anywhere between $100 and $300 per MotoTool. Now we would definitely expect MotoTool to cost significantly less than $300, but even at $300, as you can see, it's still cheaper than the other options that are out there. So MotoTool fills a gap between high output or high continuous output provided by like a grid system or a diesel generator and very expensive renewable energy technology. of course, there's another competitor that's not actually on the chart, and that's the status quo. Of course, under the status quo, so what's going on right now, farmers are unable to pump water when they want to. Communities lack access to clean, filtered water. Farmers are left doing agriculture in fully manual ways, and health outcomes in rural health clinics are suboptimal. So right now, we continue to go through the process of of generating customer insight and refining our business model. But we've done our best to kind of find India here in Ann Arbor. The next step is to continue our customer discovery process, but with more exact engineering insight and customer insight in India. So we need your support to continue to do this, basically. That's what we're asking you for today. And thank you for your attention, and we'll open it up to questions.